So this one for me is very much kind of a free-for-all in sense. I haven't really prepped the opening statement as such, but I can kind of just talk more about what I'm bringing to the table here and just kind of my past experience of just under a year of tenure of being a lawyer here in Los Santos. Through navigating search and seizure as one of my very first cases.
How is no one here?
The whole kind of the way it worked to be a very convoluted thing. When it comes to if a lawyer thinks, for example, that a warrant isn't just, it didn't reach the burden of PC in their perspective, and I know, and Knight will probably agree with me here, and I look at Knight because we've had this conversation before, is that everyone's interpretation of PC and what sets the bar is different to one another. I think probably everyone in the room can agree that PC between everybody differs. But when it comes to something like a search warrant, for example, where, you know, it comes down to two instances, for example.
I'm not an admin, just to be clear.
You could interpret to say, I don't think there's PC there. But D-Link there could think there is PC there. Or Angel.
I'm just using my brain.
There, Falconer there would think there isn't. We all have different interpretations, and right now there's no real way to challenge that as such. And I think it's important in our systems within Los Santos that we do have a way to challenge such things. To kind of further go on to the main points of what I wanted to challenge in this.
I don't know if we're supposed to be on this side.
The main I think this is an open forum night. I think we're all here.
Okay. It is, yeah, I don't know yet.
You're on the side to change.
I think it's a sensible change. I'll support anything that's sensible.
So the first part I mentioned is signing in my audit here. Signing for me is something that should be done. Well, no, sorry, it wasn't signing. Sorry, it was actually more to do with extensions. Extensions is the first thing that I mentioned, and the client recently of mine, Ray Romanov, had an extension applied to him, but he was never sure as to why those extensions were applied. And right now within the system, we're unable to find that information out. The only way I was able to find such information was submitting a writ that didn't actually exist or was kind of understood or noticed in Los Santos. And thankfully to the DOJ, they did acknowledge it and said, yes, this is valid until such and such date, but we couldn't get any reason as to why. One thing I'd like to see within the system is an ability to essentially FOIA why an extension was placed on somebody. And it should be shared as, in honest opinion, at default when the warrant is served. So they can understand what probable cause existed to allow them to have an extension against them. Because on the flip side, for a lawyer here, I can't then pick out to see if there's malicious prosecution involved. It's impossible for me to know.
Why would you
just delayed for no reason because they wanted to fuck a guy over? We don't know that. We don't know. Right now, all we can really go off is trust me, bro, it's valid. Then the next point I wanted to bring up was the contestation of the warrant. Right now, I believe that the entire section within contests needs a critical overhaul. To kind of quote verbatim, at current, a search warrant can only be contested if a critical administrative issue is within a warrant. Personally, I'm of the opinion that you should be able to call for a probable cause hearing. We had this demonstrated recently with Carl Pred. It was a function that worked within the system. Yes, we were testing the waters to see if something did work.
Oh, no.
Did I get the result I wanted?
No.
You win some.
Yo, people are gonna quit.
I think it's important to take your licks with your L's, with your W's.
It's
for further perspective, really, like.
Oh no.
It just needs an overhaul. I think we're working on something that's very old here and could do with a fresh set of eyes, and we can't really get that change without using the system as it is to create an audit. Then the next part I touched on was the signing of warrants. Personally, I think if a warrant is rejected by a judge, that then shouldn't go to a different judge to review. It should stick with the same judge. So if it's not accepted because they believe there is enough probable cause there, it falls back on my previous argument where a different judge will see probable cause when there isn't, or there is, yada, yada, yada. So I asked the justice here, really, should we create a system that allows for the signing to be struck through one judge and one judge only? And then that further leads into if a
I should leave
denied,
and leave it
should also be shared, because again, we stick onto the line of where do we put malicious prosecution if that is a thing. I don't think there is a thing. I don't think a lot of cops go out there with malicious prosecution in mind.
That is true.
Or do something.
I think what he's saying is reasonable. It's just a lot of work. I don't know if I want to be the one to voice that opinion.
Curtail up, really.
I feel like it's gonna.
Someone mentioned to me, but I thought it was quite a valid point. rights of the dead. We all know the dead have no rights, and quite honestly, the law enforcement use that to advantage where they need to. I mean, they can't exactly get a search warrant for a guy who's dead. So I agree, there should be no rights for the dead in that such. However, what isn't acknowledged is property within that.
Can only
Property
be
is something that
contested
means we have such a
there
finite property
is
system within Los Santos here. I can't just go and buy a house today or ring up some real estate agent and he can say, oh yeah, this door here's got a house in it. That doesn't exist here. So going from there, if someone rents a property from someone in a rental, what considerations are given to them if they've been renting?
I should be a part of the conversation, though.
Are they just shit out of luck at the end? I don't know. You tell me.
A search warrant can only be contested.
And I guess D, the man of the civil asset forfeiture, the first one to actually get it over the lines. Fair play to you. I think within search and seizure, we briefly touched on CAF, but however, there needs to be something more pertaining to vehicles in there regarding CAF, or even just a different system overhaul, because I think right now we're seeing a flood of the DOJ within CAF. And I think CAF works well for properties. I don't think it works so well
this
for
is
vehicles,
too real, though.
We used to use may be better suited. And yeah, thanks for listening to me yadder on, really.
Thank you. Just a point of clarity for the court. As some of his argumentation, there was some questions raised as to who defines legal terms. I want to be clear that the Department of Justice maintains standards on what probable cause is, and that determination ultimately does come back to me. So there is clarity on that issue, just to make sure that everyone in this room understands. The words do mean things here. So go ahead and begin, Falconer.
All right. Okay, to Bailey's first point about the whole extension thing being viable.
It's kind of crazy with the only ones here.
I am gonna lose my mind with the fuck up.
Extension probable cause.
I expected
I'm going this way. I'm going upstairs.
Probable cause to justify an extension.
Yeah, I'm going up.
There could be many reasons needed for an
Yo,
extension.
hell no.
Be, the rate has then expanded for other things, so we need to expand the scope of the search warrant. It could be the investigator had an emergency and had the dip. To narrow to be it so specific to probable cause is a bit too high of a bar for something that historically hasn't been used that way. I don't disagree with the reason being allowed to be shared, so I just don't think saying it probably reasonable. Then to the next, I suppose, two parts of Bailey's. It seems like Bailey's tried to have his cake and eat it too from a defense lawyer perspective. Bailey says that we should be able to contest search warrants to challenge the PC, meaning it should go before two judges. You know, it goes for, because the search warrants already went through the first judge, and then he's saying, let me go again at another judge. And then he's saying, but the cops, no, they should only get to go to one judge. Oh, only then, well, they can only go to one judge, but we get to go to two. So if we want to keep it fair, either both should get to go to multiple judges, or both sides should get to go to one. Or we keep the contest as it is. Well, there needs to be a reason beyond let me roll dice again. I was part of the DOJ when we implemented this. It was because people were just, for lack of a better term, sort of light judge shopping. They were saying, let me hope I get this judge, and the other will rule it. Let me hope I get Larry Hallow, and he'll do Larry Hallow things. Let me hope I get this person, that sort of thing. That's why we put a burden on it. The same with criminal appeals in terms of a judicial verdict. We can't just say, let me roll the dice again. It's point issues with it, like factual issues, actual issues, and not just let me challenge it again. I think if we allow warrants to be contested just on look at the PC again, that's going to flood the docket. And
agreed.
Do we have the manpower for that? Because, right, someone signs a warrant, then a case be another judge, then it gets contested. So then that's two judges that can't take the contest already. Then you'd look into availability issues, if it's a shift 2 thing, then shift 1, shift 3 maybe conflicts. You're running into logistical issues at that point. let me see. The example for Pred getting a probable cause hearing, that was the first in Pred's case there. That was the first time probable cause had been for a judicial authority. In a contestable search warrant, it's not. It's went through at least 2 checks. It's went through the command signature, which, in my opinion, is maybe a bit. Sometimes a lot of command signatures feel like a rubber stamp, but it goes through the command signature check and then it goes through the judicial check. In the Pred case, it went through maybe a command check. I don't know the specifics. Brian would probably know better, but you know, so yeah, like if
section is needs
if
of
you
a
don't
critical
want
at current
multiple
search
judges
warrant
looking
can
at it
only be
when it's coming from the
contested
cops,
if
why
there
do
is
you
a
think
critical
it should
administrative
only stand to
issue.
reason you don't want multiple judges looking at it when it's coming from the other side. To speak to the multiple judges reviewing things, that I haven't seen that happen really ever. Maybe maybe I could count on one hand how many times that's happened in the.
But this is a search
how long has it
warrant.
been? 14
What
months I've been
search
doing
warrant
DOJ.
was used on?
Typically, if someone's handling something, then they handle it. I've never really seen, like, I've seen second opinions.
Which one are
but
they talking about?
This is denied, and then someone else, out of their own volition, takes it. And then touch on the rights of the dead thing. Wills are a hard no. In this state.
Oh,
And if you're renting someone,
careful,
and
Faulkner,
renting
you
from
might get a
someone and
Reddit
someone
thread.
dies, then oh, well, you know, too bad, so sad. Start looking somewhere else, I guess.
but he's that's exactly it.
Sorry, moving off.
It is what it is. But yeah, my main points of contention are with that.
I agree with some of what's being said here. It's just I think this is a lot of
judges thing reviewing. I agree, multiple judges shouldn't be reviewing. Yeah, I probably went on a bit long, but yeah, that's my stance on it.
Okay.
So I went on long too.
You want to respond to Bailey?
Yeah, I can respond. So touch on your point there. If I could also thank you for your time, by the way. I do appreciate you being here to represent the side. To touch on the multiple judge thing, on my perspective, that process isn't massively transparent for us to understand how that works. In the command officers thing as a check, I somewhat agree, somewhat disagree. I think some command officers could probably be better than other command officers in checking that stuff. I think if you've got a very seasoned cop, they probably can just get a signature without a read. Whether that happens or not, I don't know, and I'm not, to share to law enforcement here, I'm not badgering you guys to say that happens at all. I'm just being a skeptic on the fence right now about it.
Can I say a point from my perspective on that?
Yeah, for sure.
From my experience, you sort of get to learn the command members that are the rubber stamp. Like, if I ever seen a command signature from McNulty, I would know to not send that stuff to McNulty because he doesn't care, and he probably gave it a once over and went, yep. Not to say he ever signed bad warrants, but just there are some command that put the trust in their officers a bit more than maybe they should do, whereas some don't. So I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I know you're Welsh, but you don't need to hate the Irish so bad.
I hate the English at the moment. You
Wait,
guys won.
the entirety of the section is needed. A current search warrant can only be contested.
On perspective of, so furthermore, going kind of into where we talked about the probable cause of search warrants, right? You said that it essentially has the 2 checks, right? So it has one for a judge and then the second's command officer, right?
Yeah.
So in perspective of that, when it comes to challenging a search warrant, do you honestly think that you would see a flooding contest for that reason?
I think if we were to allow it based on just a feeling of we don't think there's PC, let it be reviewed. If I were a defense lawyer, why wouldn't I do that every time, right? Because if I don't challenge it, there is a 0% chance it gets overturned. If I do challenge it, there is a non-0% chance.
Yes, exactly.
So why wouldn't
I think that's a fair perspective. Do you think, though? Sorry, and just kind of turn it into a little bit open format. I hope you're okay with that.
I don't like it because No one wants to
Yeah,
investigate.
I say it's kind of
Investigators, it's tough enough. It's just pixels. This is a RP server. Ain't nobody losing anything that crazy.
I see.
Storylines need to move forward quick.
On the lawyer a little bit to go. No,
and just because
like there is PC,
there was like the case
also I could see
of Carmine and Pred and Bobby, as you can see, turned into a shit show.
Let's see what happens.
Why? Because it got dragged out for 4 weeks because there was like a bajillion hearings around it.
Sometimes, you know, when a judicial appeal gets filed up, right? Judicial appeal goes up and they'll go, yeah, this is fine. It doesn't need to go to court. Do you reckon that's a world that could also live in?
If your basis is just challenging PC, I don't think so. Like, I think if you're pointing out, like is it maybe the one of like critical administrative errors that's a hurdle?
Yeah, I think so. I think because that's the way it can be interpreted sometimes, is that because the two ways in which from what I understand of search and seizure is there's two ways to challenge. There's a critical administrative error, which 9 times out of 10 doesn't really happen, right? Like they'd pretty much at that point have to have raided the wrong fucking house. Or the flip side is that their rights were infringed upon. How do you interpret that bit?
So to me, something like a critical administrative error could be something like misleading the judge in a sense, because like with the commanding officer and the officer, they're in the same department. Well, they're in PD, right? It could be an LSPD officer in the BCSO or whatever, but they're still in that ecosystem, whereas we're sort of disconnected from that. So there's a sort of expectation that the PD are sort of on the same page in a way. It's much easier for them to contact each other, much easier for them to talk, whereas with us, there's a disconnect for a good reason. And so things might be being misled or misrepresented, or even things being left out, stuff like that. Intentionally or not, that remains to be seen. I agree, it is hard to prove malicious, bad faith. It is difficult to prove. But I think if an omission is so great, or its misleading is so great to be like, there's no way you couldn't have realized this, then that, to me, that could fall within a reason why you could challenge it.
Yeah. So the next point, right, really if we look at like Section G1, citizens retain the rights to contest a search warrant during civil suits asserting their constitutional rights were violated. Were infringed unlawfully. Does that, at that point, how do you interpret that part? Because that's the bit that's always kind of thrown me in that.
So again,
so there's a part in there which talks about civil cases and constitutional rights were infringed unlawfully. How do we interpret that? Like, what is the perspective of that from you, do you think?
Let me just double check it so I'm not misquoting anything.
It's Section G1. It's like the second to third sentence. Because
citizens retain the right to contest a search warrant during civil suits asserting that they're okay. So yeah, that line was added in because it used to just say if the warrant is being used in criminal proceedings.
Yeah.
And so some people being like, that means you can't sue. Like if you get raided and then you're never charged.
Yeah.
If it's then never used in criminal proceedings, you can't sue. That line is in there to be like, no, you can sue based on this, even if it's not used in criminal proceedings. That's what that line's meant to cover.
Here's a question.
Angel thinks it needs rewriting to be more clear, then yeah.
So talking about kind of contest and sticking on the probable cause, because that's kind of my main bit of contention in this whole part, is there a world in which do you think a probable cause could be challenged on a warrant if more information can be added that has not been added by the cops, for example, and give more context to a situation and point flaws out in the probable cause and not just call for a probable cause hearing? Essentially, they have to put cards on the table and say, this is why we think there is no probable cause or there is a lack of probable cause, but X, Y, Z. And like failure to do so means that shot you've taken is out. You can't just be like, I don't like this warrant, probable cause hearing. Yeah, you have to actually make notice to it. If
you could assert through court, through the evidence that the police reasonably should have known this, or should have expected, or it should have been obvious, or you can't just pull out some random gotcha that only one person knew about, so haha, there you go. But if you can prove the cops reasonably should have known about this or expected it or should have thought this sort of logical thing through. Yeah.
Yeah, because that would be the way I would want to see that system personally. I wouldn't want to go at it. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember bloody yonks ago when I challenged my first ever search warrant? Yes. That was like a good example of where I pointed out the flaws in probable cause, right? But obviously the forum didn't allow for it in sense for the probable cause hearing to be a challenge.
Yeah.
But that was a good perspective to say how that worked. And that would be the bar I would be looking for it to be at in showing that there is a lack of probable cause there for X, Y, Z, and the cards need to be out on the table. It's not just turn up to court, they present the argument and go, yeah, this is why the probable cause is. There needs to be some way that people can understand why they think there is no probable cause there, so that no one's in Pikachu shocked face when they pull it out in court.
Yeah, like,
and also then also gives the checks and balance as well, that you guys can go, oh yeah, I see the line of thinking here. I think this is worthy of a hearing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you guys a few more minutes to have this conversation, and then we'll open it up to public comments.
Thank you, Angel.
I think it's possible. It sort of comes back to that sort of like, should the cops have known better sort of idea, to,
yeah,
for lack of a better term, you know, investigative negligence maybe is a term. Like, no, like, no, I won't make a comment now because it's the wrong case. But things like, you know, did the person give a statement that was then disregarded?
Yeah.
And then that statement could then lead to something that, you know.
Yeah, was that statement just failed to follow up upon when they actually gave some form of credible information there, but it didn't suit the investigative narrative?
Yeah, that's something I think that at such point it could be challenged on.
That's the world in which I would want to see a contest of a search warrant. I wouldn't want to see just a shoot your shot. I think it should be a very, if you're challenging a search warrant, you should come prepared with all of with it all there out to show, so that people can understand as to why they're challenging it, and not just shot in the dark. Oh, Brian Knight raided me. Fuck this guy. I want to contest the warrant. No, Brian had probable cause. He has 5 instances of you in 4K doing this shit. He got you. You can't contest that. There's nothing to contest.
Yeah, I think we agree on that. But it's just when it comes to the wording on the audit, it's just like,
yeah, I mean, I
let the PC be challenged.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to touch more. I filed it this way so that, you know, we can have this conversation, kind of come to something of form with this. Because even as such, it could be a financial penalty that is applied. So if successful, you get your money back. But if you want to contest it, it's 200 grand, let's say. You have to pay 200 grand to contest. If you are successful in your contest, you get it back. Maybe that's an option too, to deter going against it. I know a lot of people have got a lot of money, but
they do. I would be. I wouldn't put a financial burden on it, because we are a justice system where we treat people equally, and then that means people can pay to contest search warrants. And if someone is in debt or is just on hard, you know, perhaps the reason they committed crime is because they're on hard times, that person shouldn't be cut out of being able to contest something just because of their situation. Yeah, I just, you know, my stance on it is there should be a valid reason beyond just, we don't think there's PC. It should be, this should have been considered, this wasn't considered, this person, you know, or in the extreme cases, this person was speaking with this person in the PD and writing the warrant with them. Shout out Larry Hallow again. You know, that type of thing.
Yeah, like I said, I think it should be it should be a very stringent process if you wish to appeal it. That's my perspective. It should be a very stringent process. You should be having to present all argument to why, etc., etc.
Yeah. I don't. Doesn't feel like we have much else to say. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you too. If you wouldn't mind having a seat. We're now going to open up to public comments. So if you have anything that you'd like to say for or against, or or neutral. I mean, really anything you to keep it on topic. But please approach, make a line in the middle, kind of like right by here, behind Brian is.
Big fan, Brian. Big fan.
All right,
when
thank
you
you.
Speak to the court, just make sure that you say your full name for the benefit of the court and for everyone in attendance if they don't know who you are. First up, we got Brian.
How you doing? Director Brian Knight, call sign 0495, San Andreas State Marshals. I am speaking only on my behalf. All right, so there's a lot of things in here that I just kind of want to highlight for consideration. I do think both sides here had some very interesting points to be made. I'm gonna just kind of hit the 3 sections. The first being, I'm of the opinion when an extension is given, post conclusion, blah blah blah. The extension probable cause should be foiable. I am of the opinion, based on my reading of the FOIA legislation, and if it's not in the FOIA legislation, I can let you know, at least in terms of San Andreas State Marshals. I personally do not believe any citizen, if a citizen comes and says, I want to FOIA this interaction on this date with Director Brian Knight, consisting of this matter, whatever that matter might be, if the report doesn't exist or the information doesn't exist, we'll very much give it to you. I think that's the spirit of what FOIA is. Not everything is put into a report. It's pretty standard, right? Because many things happen throughout the day. But if you needed, for example, this information that is noted in the concern, which is what is the extension, probable cause should be FOIAble. I don't think there's anything in legislation today that prevents someone from requesting that information. And upon receipt, if someone says there isn't a report, but that doesn't mean that there can't be, as long as there is a named party in it. That's kind of what I wanted to throw in there. If it turns out that that doesn't exist, I personally think that would be a good thing to add, because I think citizens should have the right to seek information. And if that information is, a part of an active investigation, I think they should be able to respond to it as such, but also provide a date or something actionable so that member of citizenry, after the expiry of that date, can come back and say, all right, give it to me now, please. The next bit here about contesting a search warrant. I don't, without deep diving into the reason of just because something happened once, it's functioning like it's a good idea. I think having many more steps added to the, to due process just kind of makes the entire process cumbersome. And I think it's going to have a rather negative effect. I think that if there is belief that a search warrant contains information in there that is inaccurate, right? That I would presume can still be brought up in trial. So I'm not really sure why that needs to change here. Is it possible that Bailey can give a response, just so maybe I missed something?
Yeah, of course.
Bailey, is my reading in there accurate? That let's say there's something in a search warrant and you're like, well, that's not true. Like, for example, I saw an individual in a blue shirt, pull a white and color vehicle out of a garage owned by somebody, and it came back to this, right? And you believe that you have evidence as the defense attorney that that's inaccurate, that you should be able to challenge it on that perspective, and that's not something you can do today?
I don't think that would be the way I would envision that to work personally. I think my main thing within that is that you should be able to challenge probable cause. It's kind of I don't know if you heard it when me and Falconer were speaking there. Mainly, you should be able to challenge the probable cause if you believe that the probable cause is flawed or there's information that hasn't been acted upon, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, if you've raided someone's car because you spotted them drug dealing on a block, I think that's very fair game. You know what I mean? There's nothing to challenge there. If, for example, you misquoted that the guy was in a blue t-shirt, not a white t-shirt, who fucking cares? Like, the guy was drug dealing. You know what I mean? you're dumb to try and challenge that personally if someone did. I think it more applies to when there is something gracingly bad with a warrant that needs to be addressed. And the reason I think you need to have that as a step before is because if you can't get the warrant thrown out, which then makes the evidence of that warrant fruit of the poisonous tree, just because the warrant goes, yeah, that warrant was bad, but you know, you did have that shit in your house, so you're going down for it.
I'd say counterpoint, and I'm not saying this is good or bad.
Mhm.
Would this not then open the door for other legal alternatives opening up, such as, what is it called? Eventual discovery, I think is the word.
I'm not necessarily familiar with eventual discovery.
I'm more
Can you
thinking of
layman's
like
it for me?
Yeah, eventual discovery is like something was found in a way that may have been inappropriate, but it would have been found anyways because of another existing angle, right? So you had the right to go into door number 1, finding a bunch of things, but you never should have went into door number 1. But you would have had the ability to go into door number 2 and found the same thing.
To clarify,
now-
we don't necessarily follow that standard. Not saying we wouldn't, but we don't have that as an active thought process that we would engage in as part of the judiciary. I'm not saying it
Absolutely.
couldn't be argued for. I'm not saying that that's an impossibility. I'm just saying it's not something that we do right now. So
Absolutely. And I guess what I'm highlighting here is if we start going down this logical thought process of adding this sort of step in, right, as a, let's say, successful of that audit, you know, is there consideration of, would that be something you'd be open to, Bailey, right? And would that be something that would be a logical next step? The second is the concept of good faith exception, right? Where someone is, you know, you raid a property based on, you know, probable cause, and you know, let's say the warrant gets thrown out, but there's a body in there. You know, do we start opening up the door for a good faith exception? Kind of what the premise of what I'm trying to suggest here is there, I'll make this simple. Is there a working example where this might be applicable? I think,
For example, in terms of probable cause, or a working example, like you find a body in there.
yeah, or like a working example of where you think a warrant could be thrown out, but would be like a working example of any court cases in the last 2 years where you think the evidence presented in the warrant was not sufficient. Just so I have an idea of what the...
Yeah, look at Bo Bummer Contest version 3, I think it is.
I mean, I can give the historical context on why this process was put in the first place.
Mhm.
I mean, Angel was around for that at the same time as well. It sort of came from the Jackie Snow raid case and the Pred Weed Wellhouse case, where the warrants were wanting to be challenged in court, which then meant you sort of were making 2 arguments at once to the judge, because the judge would then have to go, is this warrant even valid in the first place? And then you have to go through the deliberation of the charges, and it
yes. Okay.
made everything on the day of trial so bloated. That's why it got separated into 2 different things. Because essentially, you know, if a lawyer's making the argument of, you know, this warrant should be thrown out, blah blah blah, they need to then they're essentially making 2 cases, right? The case in which the warrant's thrown out and other charges may still stick, or the case where it's not thrown out and they need to then put up a defense for that, and it made trials not good, for lack of a better word.
I'm going to retract everything I just said and just point at what you said there, Falconer. I that's exactly it. The administrative burden surrounding this seems pretty... I also agree that there's a command signature. There's also a judge signature, and this would just lead to things taking forever. And I'm of the general opinion that if a command member is constantly signing shit warrants, or a judge for that matter, their ass should be ACR'd, right? Why are you signing this shit, right? Why are they this position to begin with? It may not
Yeah.
immediately rectify the, let's say, the victim in that case. But everything's a balancing act in life, right? That's why PD doesn't have cameras everywhere that we can look in. It stomps on a bunch of rights. But at the same time, this is also a balance of like the safety of the public. That's my general argument. If people are doing dog shit things, they should be ACR'd. Right to the dead, I also agree. If a motherfucker's dead in the house, yeah, other people might live there, but you know, what you gonna do? And then, yeah. Okay, cool. I ain't got nothing else to say. Anything for me, Bailey, before I dip here?
No, I don't think so. I think we've
All right.
had a good conversation.
Okay, easy.
Thank you for your time, Knight.
All right, thank you. Up next, you want to say your full name?
Yeah, hello, I'm Cassandra Cage. I only have stuff to say about like the first bit about extensions being given to lockdowns. Because I think most of the time that extensions get given to lockdowns is because people want to go for seizures. And I think it's not unreasonable for the police to just put something on the docket and then say we're requesting an extension instead of, you know, back alley channels being like,
I didn't
hey,
know how
dog,
to...
can I extend this? And then the people that are affected are just like, oh, I guess it's still locked down, but I don't know why and nobody tells me why. That's just my thing.
Okay. Is there any other comments you'd like to make?
No, I'm good.
All right,
I wish
thank you very
I
much.
summarized it better. The only thing
Yeah, the
is
rest of it, I
like,
don't really care.
Officer D-Link 455 LSP.
as far as I'm concerned, like, if you guys ever have information that isn't in a report,
piggyback on some
at
of the
least
stuff that
when it
Bailey
comes
was saying
to
about vehicles,
SASM, like, you can just say,
I do think
I
there's
want
some,
this, right? And we will find a way to get it, even if that means producing a report, right? Like, if I punch JJ in the face right now, but I don't put a report down because I forget, that doesn't mean he can't say, I want a report on whatever the hell happened in the courtroom
and protect the city, but also
on the 7th at 3:30, right?
people to understand their rights
So,
that they've got around that sort of thing. I don't think it's very clear to them either. And it's of the personal opinion that everyone should understand their rights and what they can.
I'm a strong believer in that. That's why
so
I
all I've got to say,
don't know why people don't. Maybe it gets refused, but you should be able to say, I want a report.
Does anyone else in the public want to speak? JJ?
On the calendar.
Ruby?
I'm good, Your Honor.
Vale?
I didn't even know this was
JJ's
happening.
done his legislative
I'm
order for the year.
spectating.
Okay, Idol?
Seems important.
Yeah.
I am also just spectating. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. All right, then. Well, then I guess before we wrap this up, do either you two have any final things you'd like to say, Bailey or Falconer?
I'd love just to sum up, really.
Of course, yeah, please.
Makes me wonder if you should
So
have a
I bought this
formal
kind of,
invite
like I
to
said,
them
as a kind of a little bit of a frustrated lawyer. I think the conversation that's happened today has been good, and I think upon working with Falconer in conversation of what could be a perspective system might not harm anything.
But I do look at
And
the
shit,
calendar
if
once
it
in a
goes
blue moon, and
tits
it
up,
wasn't on there.
take it back to how it was. You know, if people. The flip
But I
side is
think
if people
even-
abuse the system, take the system away
even
from them, I
just
guess.
given, like,
Because
hey,
we wouldn't want to put an
hey,
undue
LSPD
pressure on the
got this wrong,
DOJ
you might want to look
if
at it,
people
right?
were beginning to
But,
abuse that
That's
system. It
why
should
I
be done
got- that's why
fairly,
I came
and
here, to break
people
off and
exercising
get
that
here.
right should do
Yeah,
it
but you should know dates.
considerately
That's my opinion, you know?
if it is given to
I
them.
know.
But a world in where if probable cause could be challenged on a warrant and it is actually drilled out as to why the probable cause is being challenged, not just roll dice, see what happens, would be a big win for me in my books to help create better rights for the citizens of San Andreas. And in terms of the other stuff, I'm pretty happy with where we had conversation on that. And if stuff changed, I'd be welcome to that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
They
Hi,
all want
Falconer.
the
Go ahead.
VAP system back, but that's way
Uh,
easier, by the way.
Yeah, there's
than
been
what
a
we've currently
good
got. I don't know
conversation.
why they want
My stance on the FOIAing, the extension. I agree that I agree if any action is taken to suspend someone's rights, the person whose rights have been suspended should be able to know. I don't think anyone in the right mind would disagree with that. The challenge in PC, I agree that warrants should be able to be challenged, but on on more of a basis than just I disagree. There needs to be that extra level of something there to sort of put me on the bone. Otherwise, why wouldn't why wouldn't a defense lawyer challenge it? Like I said, if you don't challenge it, it's a 0%. If you do challenge it, it's non-zero. The other parts was the judges looking at a denied search warrant. Like I said, maybe 5 times in the 14 months I've been a judge, I've seen that happen. It's a very rare thing. And that's usually because someone didn't tag that they had been looking at it or something like that. I agree that judges shouldn't be looking at stuff that someone else has denied. And the rights of the dead, those are what they are. The state has their strong opinions on what rights the dead have and what they don't and what they can do with the property should they die. So Angel probably know best on that one. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
It's a final note. I'm happy to contend on the rights to the dead thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna tell you anything else, but I can tell you
cool.
right now, rights to the dead's not happening.
Cool.
And that property shit, Will's. I remember Crane actually telling me about this a long time ago. Let me tell you a story, okay? Actually, I won't go into it, but yeah, it's not gonna happen. Right?
We'll have a beer and talk about it.
We don't do wills. We don't do property.
Was it someone getting into
transfers.
shit, dying, and then the long lost brother shows up with the
yeah,
they
it
were
was
written?
something along the lines of Tom Jefferson Jr. shows up after Tom Jefferson died, and he happened to have a signed will to transfer over all of Tom Jefferson's assets and properties to him. So yeah, we don't do wills in this state. So
copy that.
Not that there's reasons, but anyways, that with all that being aside, I appreciate everyone coming up and having their comments and engaging in this process. It means a lot. I don't know if I'll be able to have a full verdict delivered before the next one is going to be scheduled, because we do have another hearing scheduled within 30 minutes. But I'm going to bring this court session to an end. I'm going to go deliberate and start going over some of the arguments. I will say right now that this legislation was going to be rewritten as part of the overhaul that we're doing for the DOJ for 2026. So a lot of the things that are being argued in here are definitely things that have been on our radar and things that we've been aware of, things that we've been looking at and wanting to potentially change. So the verdict of what has been gone over here will be delivered with the understanding that the whole thing is probably going to get rewritten in the future anyways, but that doesn't mean we still can't acknowledge the now and change things now before that time comes. So with that being said, I'm going to call this court into recess while I go and deliberate, and I'll come back with a verdict in
What's the
probably
next one in half an
20
hour?
minutes.
DNA
Thanks,
legislation.
Angel.
Of course.
Why is this not on the freaking thing?
It is.
Yeah, it's literally
At
there.
the top.
And then
It's
we're
on
going to
the-
start your next
I don't
one,
see
Bailey.
it on the calendar at all.
We got another one after that if you want.
Oh, it's if you hit the docket.
Oh, God. I'm gonna
Yeah,
feel.
but I shouldn't. The whole idea is these go to the calendar, not the docket, so I don't have to read every single docket posting.
Yeah,
24/7.
Angel didn't set like a trial type in the MDT, but
But there wasn't
like-
one for this one either. That's why none
Yeah.
of us are here, because none of us knew.
Sounds good. See you in 20 minutes.
Oh my God, the world's gonna end.
It is going to end, and I'm not going to have to go to court ever.
Bailey,
Hallelujah.
That's exactly it. Fuck this investigation bullshit. I'm done.
Okay.
What?
I'm just being
I guess
dramatic. That's obviously
I guess the faceless win, huh?
no, hell no. They'll turn him into
Basically, you heard it all here. I'm gonna
Fuck
go
that
call
shit.
the newspaper.
Yeah.
Brian Knight said all investigations are over.
Yeah.
Faceless
What is
won.
the DOC one? What is it? Civil.
What is it?
What's it called?
What?
Civil. What's the next one in half an hour?
The DNA
it's,
legislation,
DNA
civil,
legislation, yeah.
civil 31.
This is Bailey again. Okay, what's Bailey? Well, you could test Bailey.
Oh, I'm literally
well-
just want like 4 words how to do it. That's all I want.
Well, he's only got an hour because there's an actual court case in an hour and a half.
Law
I mean,
enforcement may collect DNA. So, wait, what is this? Don't may connect DNA. The clarity is being sought on whether
Number
it is lawful.
32 is in an hour and a half.
Wait, there's another one.
Yeah,
Yes.
She's got like 4 to do.
Oh, the
Well,
appeal.
the
Okay.
the 32 is an actual case.
Yeah, an actual case, Bailey, an actual one.
Oh, sorry, because sorry. Okay, yeah, my constitutional rights don't matter where I can just appeal.
It is lawful for a number of law
Yeah,
enforcement.
yeah, you're right.
Ruby.
Yeah.
Case. This is a hearing.
I object.
Yeah.
You're late.
Bailey Harvey is correct in whatever he's assuming.
You're late. We're going to VAF all your cars.
Deed, this is your fault.
Is the VAF system back?
Just for your cars, Irish.
I warned about this. I warned about this over all those fucking pre-trials, man. And
because
I knew it was happening. I'm like, man, why is PD using a damn defense lawyers on this? Oh, wait. Oh, look what happened, guys.
So many CAFs on the fucking docket the DOJ is trying to
Oh my god, we're fucked. We are fucked.
The problem is, right, the bar has been set to fucking 3 instances, so you might as well just fucking incorporate VAF.
Wait, where does VAF come in?
Wait, what? Every time it was used
that is terrible.
Wait, Bailey.
Whoa.
And you can get
Is this Civil 31? This is all you're essentially just trying to create DNA double jeopardy.
No, I'm trying to remove DNA double jeopardy. I'm essentially right.
No. You're trying to create it so that DNA has to be treated like double jeopardy. But if an individual is arrested and their DNA isn't taken,
you don't get it taken.
But there's an ongoing investigation, and you want to work out whether that person. But if you're arresting them, then you know.
Yeah, but the thing is, so this stemmed from an incident the other day where there was some ambiguity on. So basically, guy got arrested for violent felony. His DNA was not taken at that violent felony. Then got arrested like 5 days later for a non-violent felony, and they were like, "Oh, we want to take the DNA." I was like, "Oh, I'm not sure about that." So I thought there was a lot of ambiguity in that, because the way you can interpret that is someone is arrested for a violent felony. So is that they were previously arrested for a violent felony, or they are at current arrested for a violent felony?
Well, if they've got a violent felony on the record and they've no DNA on the record,
don't they generally
like
just
retroactive that...
put a note on their fucking MDT saying next time they're arrested, take the
Bailey
DNA?
doesn't like
But that's what he doesn't want to do. He wants it so that if you commit a violent felony and your DNA isn't taken, then if you're caught joyriding a car, then the officers can't take your DNA there.
I don't know about that, Bailey.
I mean,
do you know why? Because if the cops fail to do their job, why did they get the chance to redo their job there? Because they failed to do it in the first place.
If we don't, if we let someone get away, we should never chase them again.
Yeah, but under that logic, if a criminal fails to break into a bank, that means they fail to crack the. Bailey, you're off your rocker.
No, they tried to break into the bank.
If they arrested you for a violent felony,
the thing is, really, on that note, there, if they tried to break into the bank, they tried to rob the bank. Get them from robbing the bank.
In other words, what you're doing is, if we forget, and I got to tell you, it happens, because yes, that happens. You would rather we put a subpoena out for them and arrest them, correct?
No, I mean, it's also, you wouldn't arrest them for a subpoena, right?
You would. Wait, what do you mean?
You wouldn't arrest someone for a subpoena?
No, but it's not. It's a detainment. Yeah, because it's a seizure.
Oh, okay, yeah. That wouldn't be a seizure.
So if you put a DNA, okay, here's the process. Here's the process from tip to tail. If you put a DNA warrant out for somebody, I then have to go find that person, detain them, right? And warrants of my fucking jam. I will go find that person, detain them, and then guess what?
You just ran the faceless mission.
I have to take them to Mission Row to take DNA, which we can do. Because it's an investigation that needs to take place at the police department.
Well,
right. Explain to me how. But pause. Let me finish. Explain to me how that's any different to just, hey, you're in custody, we're going to take the DNA. Like, it's going to happen either way if that person continues to commit crimes. Now,
if they commit violent felony, then the problem is, right, so, okay, so my
you
main
sound like
thing
such a
here
marshal right now, Bill.
It literally
this
says,
is amazing.
Law enforcement may collect a DNA.
This is why we need her in SASM.
Is that at current, or is that include the previous? Because it does not contextualize that. I can contextualize to say that means current. You can contextualize to say that means whenever. That's why I bought the legislative audit.
It could be done whenever anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could be done whenever anyway. But the legislation says arrested. It doesn't say if it's at the time of the arrest or if they have ever been arrested. I just want some clarity on it. That's why I bought a legislative audit here.
Sure, but the only clarity that you're going to get is cops have to write a few more pieces of paperwork.
Cool.
But it doesn't
and
actually
you know
make
what?
any difference.
And you know what I've done here? I've paid the money to hear this in court. So let me pay my money and get my service from the DOJ. man.
Sure. I understand where you're coming from. It reads as like DNA double jeopardy, essentially.
Yes.
You're gonna get us jammed up more than you're
It's
gonna help us,
happen.
motherfucker.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
Oh
Would
shit.
you like having a warrant put out after an event?
Oh my god, this is actually a sick
Some
idea.
hot shit on me, and then you guys put a subpoena out for my arrest to collect my DNA, take me down to MRPD, and I've got some hot shit on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
that. Do you? As a criminal, as someone who engages, I'm not profiling, but as someone who likely,
poor Bailey.
There you go. I wasn't going to. I was assuming. Would you rather the next time you get caught joyriding? Oh, we didn't take your DNA for that time you shot 7 people. We're just going to do it now. Option A, or option B. I crawl out of the woodwork and jam myself knuckle deep into your asshole just to take you down to Mission Row and get your blood taken.
Like oh my god.
I think the cheek swab it gives the same DNA, but like I'd rather the first one.
Right?
The right
They're gonna
kind
hate
of
you for
cheek
this.
swab, right?
They're
The
gonna
right
hate
kind
you
of
for
cheek
this.
swab.
Facial cheek swab.
Right now there is ambiguity with the way it's written, so I just want to get the ambiguity cleared up.
I could
what are you
quite
looking at,
feasibly
Bailey?
write.
walked
Like
into
I could go
conversation
through the
with
whole
so-
MDT and find every single criminal that has never been arrested for
DNA
violent felonies
legislation?
that doesn't have their DNA taken.
Oh my
Like,
god.
100 warrants.
If we think there's a faceless mission happening, that's when we execute him. You know what I mean? It's like 2 birds, 1
All
stone.
right, everyone.
Hold on, but they could just give consent anyway. So all this is kind of void. Most people
Yeah.
would, right?
Well,
Totally
we'll be arguing this in 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, look,
That's a
I'm
very
not gonna
valid
be
point,
arguing
man.
My
I'm not
main
gonna be
thing,
arguing
like
this,
my
'cause-
main thing here is I just want the ambiguity cleared up, because if it means it can be taken if you have been previously arrested or are arrested, then cool, ambiguity's cleared up. Right now, you can read it and interpret it in different ways. The joy of the legal system.
You can
I just
interpret
wa-
it in a way that makes sense or a way that fucks your clients. It's your choice, really.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I mean. I just want it cleared up because right now there's ambiguity on it because it was a situation that was presented to me the other day.
Okay.
So, you know, if we don't ask for change,
I love
or
Bailey.
inquire about
I-
change,
I
then shit
do-
don't happen. So, you know,
I am glad
only for
he's
me
bringing it up,
trying
but
to
he
do my
kind of
thing here.
walked into
Sure. It's good.
the argument. He should have probably
looking forward
waited.
to it.
To clear up the ambiguity.
Oh
I'm
my
looking
god.
forward to it.
Good, I'm glad you are.
'Cause if you
I
clear
don't
up the
think he's met
ambiguity
me,
and it
Brian.
gives the PD fucking reason
I don't think he knows.
He's-
75 warrants to go collect DNA that they
he's,
don't have files, people have violent felonies and they
yeah.
get locked up or jammed up with the last remaining straps that they have because the streets be fucking dry, Bailey. That's gonna get some people pissed off.
Don't worry, Irish. They'll call for a lawyer and Bailey will come.
Yeah,
Hey,
more work for
And then they'll say,
No, listen.
"Oh, Bailey's available. Do not come."
I'm calling Reggie might.
No, please no.
He loves ambiguity.
Oh no.
I can't remember. There was one lawyer in shift 1. It was just loud. He was just loud, and I can't for the life of me remember his name.
Was it Reggie?
No. Reggie, you could talk to Reggie.
Oh
I
man.
can't remember. Not Reggie,
I
not
wish
Bill.
that shit
Grayson.
would actually practice law again.
No.
I love Grayson, but he gets lost in the sauce too much.
Yeah, Vale, if you're
Yeah.
thinking any further back than a couple of years, then yeah, a lot of people won't know.
Wait, what's the
Ma'am,
question?
I haven't not been around for 3 years.
I know.
It's
I
been a
think
while.
I think a lot of people in this
3
room have
years
probably
ago?
been around plenty long enough to know people out from back then.
Mm-hmm.
Hammerstein wasn't a lawyer 3 years ago.
Got me on the baby.
I never saw.
Oh my
I didn't
God.
see much. Like, he wasn't around every day.
Irish,
But I
have you
seem to
met
just-
Hammerstein's son?
got a son?
Yeah, Paul Hammerstein Jr. He's a cadet.
I don't know. I'm trying to
Oh my
think.
god.
Yeah.
Wait, he's a
Hey,
cadet.
You know what? Hammer lost me like 3 cases, but he defended Ash for the attempted murder hag charge, and he got off that. So you know, pretty good.
Are you thinking of Nino Chavez? That motherfucker
No.
screams.
No, was he a lawyer?
Oh, he's the mayor for the past year, and senator now? Question mark.
Big question mark.
Yeah.
Big question mark.
Who voted
Lawyers
for
from
that
3
guy?
years
Real
ago. There
nice.
was Murphy,
Real
Murphy
nice.
Braun. I know Jackie was a lawyer for a little bit after leaving the sheriff's.
Siobhan
Oh,
was.
yeah,
that
that's
was a long
true.
time ago.
I'll remember it in like 3 days, and then I'll scream it out in the middle of my car, and everyone will be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, Chad. No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't fuck around with the president stuff only because it's better to
all
leave.
I want is just ambiguity cleared up on this.
There's so
How do
much
I get a
potential for
legislative
good
audit
RP.
done?
File a legislative audit, pay 50 grand.
50 grand.
Well,
that's it.
Oh yeah.
Because I've
There's
heard of a
shit.
silly thing happening in
Yeah.
courtrooms, and it's not bit me, but it was annoying, and it's happened yesterday.
What was
Go
it?
on.
So, when you arrest somebody and they have items on their person, right? Does it make more sense to jam a camera into their pockets and take a photo of everything, like just pull their pocket to the side and take a photo of everything, or take the item in question out and photograph it in a sterile environment?
Oh, I think didn't
Either
I
works.
raise this when there was like a bit of like kerfuffle the other day? Wasn't it the fucking bench trial for the Irish lot?
Oh yeah.
Photograph it in a sterile environment. This is the only thing I'm concerned with. I'm not concerned with all the civilian belongings and that.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
I think-
not going to jam my camera into their backpack and take a photo of everything. Right. Well, apparently, people have been sitting in court seeing a photo of a cocaine bag like on a table in PD after someone has been arrested and gone, well, that photo could have come from anywhere. It's like,
oh no,
I think
that's
sure.
not how
I
it
think
should
they-
be.
did
I
I
think-
go into the
okay.
evidence locker and take a photo of a random bag of cocaine just to string you up on a charge?
I think the
Listen,
main thing is
yo,
being.
I'm
Apparently, that's happening.
I think
So-
I think my main thing
I've
there.
no-
when
no
I, 'cause
comment
I kind of briefly
after
raised something about that, and the
recent
guy was like,
events.
"Oh no, I had some problems taking a photo."
If
We're
you
like,
think that's
"Okay,
bad."
cool, don't worry about it then." Dropped. But I
Okay,
think the main
so-
thing is being able to prove that it was in their pockets when you arrested them. You know what I mean, or when you searched them. I think that's like
Yeah,
the main thing.
sure.
And then if it's photographed in a sterile environment, I think that's also good too. I think
So
it's
You
more
know,
that-
as long
you
as
can only do
you-
so much with these cameras, right?
yeah, yeah.
As
I
long
think
as you
I think
articulate that.
yeah, I think there should be a photo that is taken to show that everything was in their pockets, and then photograph it in a sterile environment if you wish to do so.
Okay, let me
Can I
explain
get
how
a
we.
passcode?
Okay, let me explain how we train. Is one is a photo of the item within the person's pockets. Number two is a photo of the label, serial
I
number, whatever is on the actual
I
item.
agree.
Now, whether that's taken inside the person's pockets, or outside, it does not matter. That is how it is trained. So inside the pocket to show that it is inside someone's backpack, like who knows what's inside Irish's backpack, and then whatever label or serial number is on said item.
I mean, once you guys like write it in
I don't
the
know. I get
report,
what she's saying though, but
if it's missing from the report, or like say you write up the report, like suspect was arrested and taken into custody, yada yada yada, and then there's no mention of anything on him, and then there's this like random ass picture of a fucking cocaine bag on a table. What is to stop you?
I'm gonna rip the bandage. I gotta rip the bandage.
Oh,
The
no.
problem is,
Oh, I don't want to go there.
the problem is, and I'm gonna say this in the most political way I can. We now live in a society where corruption is significantly rampant and is rather understood by people in San Andreas. And so while back in the day, Vale, like that's not something that probably would ever happen. Now it does.
What the fuck?
yeah.
Pretty much.
So the reason for that level of photography
Hello.
is to ensure that the individual in question is not doing something in order to get the outcome that they're desiring, right? And yes, it does create like a massive administrative burden on us. But it's
Angel.
yeah, it's a
I
real thing.
will further hold my tongue on that subject.
Yeah.
I'm,
Actually, Bailey knows all about it. He helped do
No.
He
Oh,
helped defend
press
some of
it.
it.
no.
Honestly.
I'm done. I'm not talking about that anymore.
You okay, Angel?
Yeah.
Just sitting there.
Oh.
Hey, Knight, would you like a cursed photo? I'm gonna send you a cursed photo.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's of one of your officers.
I gotta say, Bailey, I appreciate you. You can, stand there and not, against opposing opinion and not, twist backwards. So respect for that.
Just have a conversation with people, man. It's not hard.
He's British. We're used to prickly convos.
Wait, what is this?
It's a photo of Blunt. It's my favorite thing to
This
put.
DVD thing is going to hit the corner any second now.
I'm watching for it.
Oh, that was so close.
Irish, why'd you send me 20 grand?
I forgot to pay the last day after representing us in the thing you just reminded me earlier.
It was covered by the state, but hey, anyway, yeah, sure, I'll take your money.
Yeah, well, look, the Irish look after fucking. Oh, no,
Well, looking good.
It can't touch the corner.
I
because there is
appreciate
no
Bailey for
corners on
hearing
the
another
actual
side out
logo.
without it
Did you get a
being,
verdict, Angel, or is it
oh,
gonna
with
be
it
a
being
delayed
like toasty. That's what I want more of.
Oh,
to be honest.
Woohoo!
What's going on, Silas?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Challenging search and
This is the
seizure.
one. This is the one.
Yeah, I'm interested to see this. I'm also here for the next one, so.
Yeah, nice. I mean, did you read what I put on there about it?
Somewhat, yes. It's been a minute since I looked at it.
I just want the ambiguity cleared up. That's all I want. Literally all I
Oh,
want.
okay.
Fuck, I need to look at Sparks's.
To clarify, is that they're arrested at the time or if they were arrested in the past?
Yeah, it's always good to plug some holes, you know?
I can read it one way and someone else can read it the other way. That's my main thing.
Wait, why don't I see Sparks's name in here? Oh no, I can't. The search is missing people. Right? Am I on drugs?
What made you contest the DNA one?
A situation happened in the cells the other day. We're like, we're going to take his DNA because he's arrested, but he was. So long story short, he was arrested for shooting cops.
I think that one thing that's missing from the legislative audits.
Okay. So when someone audits legislation like
Hi.
this and there's the public hearing part, can other people raise other issues with different parts of the legislation?
What's up, Biden?
Okay. All right.
I'm trying to find a way how to word this.
All right. I'll bring something up during DNA then.
Would it be crazy to have these audits provide a working example?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm just kind of thinking of it as like, the guy who showed up prior to looking at anything on the audit and trying to make sense of what was being argued. Without a working example of what could happen, right? Working in theory is sometimes a little bit difficult to kind of like imagine where is the problem exactly? You know what I mean? Does that kind of make sense?
I get that.
Do you think it'd be too much to, if there is an audit, provide a real world example of what could happen? Or do you think that kind of comes to the issuers?
I think it really depends. I think it depends on what's being asked to be changed. I think it's really context. Because, like, for example, someone could be bringing forward like some serious foundational changes to a piece of legislation, and when they make a request like that without any actual serious backing outside of just some hypothetical argumentations, that usually wouldn't be taken that seriously. I think it's kind of like the greater the ask, the greater the evidence required. The greater examples we would want you to have. So I don't necessarily know about requiring it, but it's definitely something that we kind of expect already to a degree,
Yeah.
Like if you're asking me to rewrite foundational pieces of law, there better be a damn good reason for it,
Yeah, no, it's exactly that. I'm just thinking back at, like I said, it was like, okay, I think I know what they're arguing, but like, what is the actual issue? You know what I mean? Like trying to, because I think sometimes we come into, like, I came into this with zero context outside of what's in the docket. And I imagine if I'm thinking that, others are probably thinking that, and it becomes like legal words back and forth, like
yeah, I get that. If it's
those in the know of the situation versus those who are not in the know. So it's kind of like
the problem is there's only so much breaking down and
Oh, okay.
simplifying that you can do for the general public, right? There does come a degree where you just have to engage and pay attention and understand what's being talked about, you know?
Yeah, that's true. All
But
right.
it's obviously we could talk about. I mean,
Understood.
I will say this: the legislative audit legislation was one of the very first pieces that we ever made. Like we made the Constitution, and then we made the legislative audit, and we never actually looked at it again. We never like touched on it. There's been no iteration on it, no modifications made to it, like nothing.
Yeah, I don't even think it's something that I would say needs to be in legislation, but more of a, hey, it would be very helpful to provide a working example, whether it is occurred or not,
right?
Of here is a actual hypothetical, right, as opposed to a
0066 for some reason.
Yeah, I feel like there's two types of hypotheticals, right?
Really?
Like, hey, this is bad because civil rights, but that doesn't really portray much substance, right? As opposed to, hey, if someone dies in a house, there could be 5 people living inside of it, and now all their property is, you know, at risk because the homeowner died.
Yeah,
right. Like that was a good working example, right?
Yeah, I get you.
So,
well, I don't really know. I wouldn't even know how to begin to require people to begin specific things in their argumentation outside of starting to nitpick and require. I mean, like we don't have any argumentate or guidelines around like what you can bring forward a civil case outside of like what you could potentially like be suing for, but we leave it really free form because how do you?
Oh yes, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this was the one that was sealed. That's
how do you like force things through a specific filter?
I wouldn't say.
You know what I mean?
I don't think it should be forced, like, but rather as a, hey, we suggest doing, like, you know, if there was like a, look, we don't, doesn't have to be done. I'm just kind of thinking of like, you know, if there was like a guideline document or something, it was like, here's a good way to put it together, right?
Yeah.
So then even the common person may be more likely to engage because they see this template and they're like, oh, it's like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to consider. I'm actually, I'll review how we handle these audits and I'll see what we can do and we'll make some guidelines for it.
Yeah.
Right. I have to give out this verdict though and get ready for the next one.
Oh, yeah.
So. All right. I'm calling this court back into session. I apologize for the slight delay. I have taken the time to review the arguments presented by Bailey and Justice Falconer, as well as listening to the comments that were presented.
Yeah, I think
in attendance in the public, the Department of Justice.
I look at it like this, chat. If I had trouble following it, and I
spending the time
am knee deep in this shit a lot,
bring forward these thought-provoking.
I imagine most people are going to feel it's too much.
We're going to break it down into a few different sections.
And so finding a way to
and address
make the filer sort of like explain it isn't a bad thing, right?
The Department of Justice does consider extension information and quite a few other pieces of information as FOIA-able. I do understand that there has been previous standards and misunderstandings of what constitutes a FOIA, what can be FOIA'd, and other things like that have caused this information to be wrongly withheld in the past. However, our current interpretation is that the spirit and the application of the FOIA law requires police to disclose information in their custody, and any government official that is pertinent to the FOIA legislation, to disclose information in their custody that could be used against the citizens of San Andreas upon their request. The right to information is something that is contained within the Constitution. It is a foundational right that everyone is given, and we want to make sure that we abide by that right, and something that we want to make sure that the citizens are allowed to. With that being said, the FOIA legislation is not part of this audit, so nothing is going to change inherently there. However, that is a piece of legislation that is going to be expanded upon and rewritten in the coming months. Moving on. The Department of Justice also does find, and the court finds, that both parties involved in a proceeding do need to have knowledge of judicial decisions that are being made, as well as the reasons behind those decisions when there are official communications. Both parties do need to be aware of why something is happening regarding ongoing proceedings, and especially regarding the suspension of their civil rights. Now, with that being said, we do also understand that there are times when information might need to be withheld temporarily for legitimate reasons, such as information might need to be sealed or it might be to be delayed in its delivery to not spoil an ongoing investigation. So any modifications to the legislation will be considering all of those things in mind, as it is a very difficult line to balance on to make sure that police and law enforcement have the ability to properly conduct their investigations while simultaneously protecting and ensuring that no abuses of the citizens' rights are occurring. Next, moving on to contesting search warrants. Contesting for a lack of probable cause is something that will need to be considered more thoroughly. There is a large degree of administrative burden that would be placed upon the Department of Justice if you were to essentially allow a contest of a search warrant to be a de facto and default part of the ongoing proceedings. Now, with that being said, administrative burden isn't enough of a reason for us to not do something, as we want to make sure that we are upholding the rights of the citizens. So this is a process that I am interested in reviewing to a further degree, to modify to some standard that would allow for there to be a review of the highest authority, myself, the Chief Justice, while also not putting that administrative burden on the Department of Justice. That is something that I've been looking into.
Thank God.
We'll look at doing. As for the topic of how many people can look at warrants, I think right now the big topic of the day is judge shopping. A lot of people have brought up that term in the past, and it's something that I do hear every now and then.
I wonder if that's actually happening.
Simply this: once a judge has reviewed a warrant, it should not be sent to another judge for review. It needs to stay with the judge that's giving it that consideration. It needs to stay with the judge that understands their interpretation and understands the reasons why it would have been denied. Because when you allow prosecution to resubmit warrants to another judge, it very well could slip through for inappropriate reasons, and which has happened in the past. We don't want to allow judge shopping of any form or fashion. We want to make sure that both sides are given the same standards and the same fairness there. So we'll make sure that whatever standard is applied to the legislation going forward has that in mind, while also being fair to the defense. I would like to remind you guys that the Chief Justice exists to oversee the work of the judiciary, and I have final ruling authority on mistakes that they might make, and that would include search warrants. So whatever process we do have going forward would potentially is very likely to essentially allow the invoking of that authority on a more routine matter to make sure that your warrant is being overseen and interpreted by someone that has a firm ruling and understanding of the law, if so necessary. But again, that's a process that would potentially have a very large administrative burden on myself, and is something I want to engage with carefully. I'm not going to touch on the civil asset forfeiture section of the search and seizure legislation. I do understand that there's parts of that that we are looking to change in due process, and we're looking to change that going forward with some of the other legislation. So I will not be speaking on it in this one. And again, a firm reminder: we don't do wills in the city. The dead have no rights. Unfortunately, in the example that was brought to us by Councilor Bailey, if you were living in a house that was owned by someone that died and you were renting from them, you are shit out of luck, and you will have to get somewhere else to live. That house will be repossessed by the state, and it will be auctioned off to somebody else. We don't allow for wills in the state, and we probably never will. I'd like to cap everything that I set off with this, that we are going to be rewriting the search and seizure legislation this month, and a lot of the changes that have been discussed in this verdict, a lot of the topics that we've approached, we're going to adapt into that new form. However, as a result of this audit, I will be making some piecemeal changes and modifications to the legislation as a stopgap measure until this more formal method can be pushed through the legislative proposal and approval process that we must abide by. And that is the ruling of the court. Everything that I discussed, I'm going to put into more legal wording and more official sounding language in the legislation, and I'll post on City Hall tonight for review. Thank you, everyone.
Cool. Thanks, Angel.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right, and now I now call into session the next legislative audit.
Right on time.
Good morning,
Bailey
Angel.
Harvey. Good morning, Counselor.
Thank you, Angel.
Bailey Harvey versus the DNA legislation. We have Bailey Harvey here on the filing side, and
What'd you think of the 1 year?
We have Judge Angela Adams. Please give me one moment to have a seat. Bailey, you can go ahead and present your
See ya.
argumentation.
Morning, everybody. Thanks for anybody who was here previously. Thanks for people now. Actually, this audit's just brought about because there's a bit of ambiguity in the language there. It can be interpreted in two different ways. To pull it up, where the fuck is it in my fucking docket? There it is. It reads, my main thing that I'm looking clarity on really here is law enforcement may collect DNA from individuals arrested for violent felony crimes without a warrant. My simple thing I'm trying to ascertain here and get the language adjusted to as such to display this is whether if someone is arrested for a violent felony, is their DNA only able to be collected at the time of arrest, or can it be collected at a later date because they have been arrested for a violent felony? Simply as such, could I be sat there in Senor Buns, but because I've been on a faceless mission recently, Brian Knight just comes to me and go, "Gah! Give me your mouth!" and swabs my DNA because I've been arrested before for a violent felony. Can he do that?
Hell yeah.
That's essentially it. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much, Bailey. Adams, would you like to say something on that?
So, I was party to this only by virtue of being the last amender of this legislation. I honestly think that Counselor Harvey has raised a valid point.
All right, so you don't really want to disagree with what he's saying at all?
It shouldn't be forever. It should probably have some leeway in case there's some reason it can't be immediately at the time of arrest, but certainly within a short period thereafter, probably. But I understand the need for clarity with it, honestly.
All right, very well. Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
That's all.
Okay. All right, well, it doesn't sound like there's much contention between the filing party or their swanning. So I'd like to open up to the public then to have a word on this, if they would. If you'd like to say something on the topic that's been brought forward, please approach in the middle. You can line up kind of in line with me in the bench. Just approach, say your full name. And
I was going to say some Mimi shit. Should I go first?
Go for it. Go for it.
I still think you should do your thing.
No, I will, but it's different, so I'll wait till this
Yeah,
topic matter is done.
not the bomb in the courthaus thing, the thing about the DNA, yeah?
No,
Yeah,
of
please
course
don't
not.
bomb the
Okay.
car. I mean, you can
No,
say anything.
no.
It's a
No,
public
no, no.
hearing, so
Of course, of
just
course.
don't say any swears. I mean, I guess you could swear within reason, but you know.
I want to jump over the bomb again.
Would you guys like to speak?
Can I begin?
Absolutely, you can.
All right, Director Brian
Say
Knight.
your full name.
Else about the legislation?
Is your full name Director Brian Knight, or is it Brian Knight?
Brian Knight.
Go ahead.
Brian Knight.
Okay.
Call sign 0495 San Andreas State Marshals. Is there ambiguity? Sure. If someone did a crime, violent in nature, can law enforcement alternatively write a search and seizure warrant, detain said individual, garner their DNA? Sure. We can detain them. Maybe right before they start a damn faceless mission. We find they start fleeing, start grab their things, throw them in jail, take all their things, right? You know, I kind of, this shit might actually be real helpful, quite frankly. Yeah. I mean, woo! Bailey, I appreciate this. I'm going to be real. But at the end of the day, I feel like it might create more hostility in the city if we start doing those things.
You know that noise, Brian? That's what might happen if that
That might have just happened.
Yep. You gotta go, Brian?
No.
All right. You sure? There's 3 of them. 4?
Goddamn.
I'm here for you, Bailey.
Thank you, Brian.
You know, I'll keep it simple. If someone has committed a violent felony within 30 days and we got them in detention, I mean, why wouldn't you just take that DNA? Why wouldn't you? Right then and there, make everyone's life easy. You know what I mean? But I think if it adds an extra step along the way, it's going to greatly help law enforcement. I'm going to be real. So.
Are you drinking there, Angel?
Yeah.
It's none of your. It's official court business.
The Mountain Dew?
Yeah, oh, thank you, Brian. We appreciate your comments. Thank you. All right. Please state your full name for the record.
Officer Vale, call sign 460, Los Angeles Police Department. I understand where you're coming from, sir. With regards to, you know, the specific verbiage. However, when it comes to your clients in any particular situation now, where someone
lost, thank you for the 1 years
to you, in so much as they will not have conducted very many violent felonies. I'm talking more about like specific situations, because it's a subjective thing, as opposed to like an objective this way or that way. In this subjective situation where an officer fails to collect DNA for any variety of reasons, maybe they're processing and then some 13 pings come through like they just did, and you know, we get something very serious going on, and you kind of got to go, okay, these are charges, you know, these are possessions, so on and so forth. Like there's a million reasons why it can happen. Anyway, in this one specific situation where somebody has conducted a violent felony and it has not been conducted, I believe that your clients would probably prefer it were it to just happen the next time they get arrested, regardless of circumstance. Like, hey, you're a violent felon now. This needed to be done before, it wasn't. We're doing it now. Rather than someone like me and the guys that I work with showing up and, like I said, crawling out of the woodwork and interrupting them in the middle of whatever they're doing, sniffling them up and taking them into Mission Road to execute a DNA warrant. In either situation, the DNA will get taken, because in either situation, they have been arrested and charged with a violent felony, right? Whether it's in the original instance or after the original instance at some indeterminate point in the future. So really, any kind of change that, you know, limits us to specifically at that instance of arrest doesn't really affect the outcome. So while I respect that you've said it, it just seems like it makes life harder for your clients and makes us have to do another piece of paper. I think your intent is good, but ultimately when somebody has crossed that Rubicon of conducting violent felonies, it will get taken regardless.
Can I ask a question, Angel?
To the court or
to Miss Vale on the floor?
Officer Vale, sure.
Officer Vale, how long does it take to take someone's DNA?
Not long.
So, on the logic then of they need to get back out quickly, how, like, what are we talking? Are we talking
that, no. Okay, so that's not what I implied by that is that things. Oh, but allow me to clarify, because it wasn't this takes so long, therefore sometimes it's not done. It was in a situation where there's a lot of things happening, a subjective situation where there's a lot of things happening, it might get missed. Because it is a thing that gets missed every now and then, which is why we're here in the first place, right? Mm-hmm. I wasn't speaking to it takes a long time, so sometimes people don't do it. Do you follow? Because it doesn't take a long time. It's a swab in a bottle, then through a machine, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I just wanted
Does that answer your question?
I wasn't sure how the process works as such. So I've never done a crime in my life. Innocent man.
You probably represent quite a lot of them, though.
Yeah, but I know. I've never had my DNA taken. Never see that process.
Would you like to?
No, I do not want my DNA taken.
Okay.
Only if Brian takes it.
Damn.
I'm not going to give you my DNA, sir. I'm getting married soon.
Who are you getting married to? We'll talk after.
You're getting married?
Yeah.
Go on, compel discovery,
Yeah.
please. Brian Knight, who's he getting married to?
I'm not going to compel discovery on that personal information.
Do you have any questions? Any further questions?
No, that's good. I only had that one really just as like a clarification, really, if that's such.
For sure. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Bailey.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Officer Vale.
All right, next.
Hello, Silas Moreno, State ID
That was good.
5448. I personally, as both a previous defense lawyer and now a felonious individual, am of the mind that if an officer fails to remember to collect DNA or is otherwise unable to collect DNA as part of a standard procedure of
100%.
detainment and processing, which admitted by an officer just now is a quick thing, then the expectation of when they should be able to take it again should be upon a next arrest. Because lest we forget, most criminals in San Andreas are repeat offenders. That is my opinion. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Knight, for tea purposes, who you're marrying? I'm curious.
Well, thank you very much for giving us your opinion.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Is there anyone else in the public that would like
You
to
don't have the
approach
time
and say
to
anything on the
give
matter?
me-
What are they talking about?
He wants it so that if we miss taking DNA, we have to write a warrant and we can't just get it on the next
Your Honor,
arrest.
I would like to discuss a different part of this legislation entirely, but I am holding my tongue until this matter is settled for the sake of everyone's.
Well, this is a public
Attention.
hearing, so your time is now or never.
Well, I know. I was just making sure there were no other public statements on this specific part of the legislation before I jumped in here. I didn't want to steal the show.
All right, let's see what else you got.
When it comes to another bit of this legislation, I would like to propose a change in the part about DNA warrants. So, as most people know, these are exceedingly rare compared to arrest warrants and investigative warrants. However, as most people also know, I am
Point
one
to
of the...
specific article and section in question.
Yes, it is standby. Where the hell is it? Hold on. Oh yeah, Article 1, Section B.
I'm looking.
Yo, it's too early to see single ladies calling. I still, shit's crazy, man. It could. I listen. She's gonna succeed either way. I'm not one to. I don't want us to be a part of the collect the Pokemon club where we feel like if we don't have someone in our department, we can't work with them. Right? I just don't like that. I think it's been created a really poor, toxic working environment.
Silas, you saying anything?
In my opinion, I don't want us
waiting
to
for you to finish reading. You just said you were looking.
weed a part of that narrative. It's not good for the individuals because it makes them feel boxed, like it's some egregious
you
thing.
were looking for it, so okay. I'm happy to continue if that's
please.
all right. Cool.
Please continue.
So, yeah, in short, I would like to propose an amendment to this section stating that
if we got enough police cats, we'll do
a
it.
law enforcement officer is looking to use DNA to push a DNA warrant, they may not do so if that individual was not identified as a suspect in any previous situations that they are obtaining the DNA from. I'll pause there, and then I can expand on that line of thinking if and when you're ready.
So to clarify,
can I just use my own experience as an example for this? That's
sure.
the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, why don't we contextualize it? Yeah.
Yeah, so for those in here that don't know, I am one of the few subjects of DNA warrants in the state of San Andreas since our government was reestablished. And the DNA warrant that was pushed against me was used and executed via the attainment of my DNA from, I believe, 4 different incidents where I was a victim. I was shot, stabbed, robbed, God knows what else in these other 4 instances. And my suffering and the fact that my DNA and blood was able to be obtained on scene was then used against me.
Hold on. That's not what a DNA warrant is. A DNA warrant is if someone's in custody and you would like to get their DNA to prove that they did a charge that you have them in custody for it.
That's not how it was used for me, Your Honor.
Are you telling me that it was not applied like that to you?
No. There was a
What, did
bombing at
they
this
go and
courthouse.
Find the evidence from previous things that occurred to you and what, scoop that and use that?
They found DNA on the scene of a bombing in this courthouse back in late June and combed through the MDT to find matches. And all the matches they found were from incidences where I was a victim. And they matched DNA collected from those scenes where I was the only, some of which I was the only DNA collected on scene. They matched that to DNA found on the scene of the bombing. And then a signed DNA warrant was issued for me to comply with a DNA swab in 72 hours. And I told them that was fucking bullshit. And they didn't budge. And then people wonder why I went on the run for 3 fucking months.
I'll be honest with you, the way that you describe that to me does sound very concerning.
So yeah, I would like it to be known, or established rather, that if you're looking to match DNA, I don't think you should be able to obtain a signed DNA warrant for an individual to comply with a swab if the DNA that you're matching to them is from incidents where they were a victim. Or
That
honestly,
may I make a comment?
Sure.
That wasn't what you said initially. What you said initially was you didn't want DNA warrants to be signed in situations where the person wasn't identified. Now, as it may be,
No,
I
I said
presume.
victim.
No, initially you said identified.
Identified as a victim.
We're splitting hairs, guys.
Anyway, I would argue I don't know the specifics, I haven't read the cases, but what you've just described is DNA was found at the scene of a bombing. That DNA had historical instances of being shown, and it was whether you're a victim or not, someone can be a victim one day and a courthouse bomber the next. I'm not saying that you did that, but from an investigative point of view, it does seem
okay, I was found
prudent.
guilty.
Well, he definitely did.
Oh, you did do it. Okay.
No, I did that shit.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, it seems prudent that... Okay, I didn't know that either. But it seems prudent, and apparently was prudent, to check. Victim or no?
Yes, and I'm saying going back through months-old reports to match my DNA to instances where I was shot and stabbed working a legal civilian job is horseshit.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, just to put it blunt, that sounds illegal because your DNA falls out of statute. Like DNA collected, it has a statute limitations on it. So if they're using old stuff, I don't know, man. That just sounds like if that's exactly how it happened to you, then it sounds like you had a big fat paycheck waiting for you. I don't know if that's specifically how it happens, because this is not like a full hearing for that. But I'm sorry that those circumstances occurred, and the court notes down your unique circumstances and the issues that you presented.
I didn't come here to just complain. I mean, look, I'm definitely complaining a little bit, but I didn't come here to just complain. I came here to see if any amendments can be made to offer better protections for individuals' DNA.
It just sounds to me like the law wasn't followed.
That wasn't me.
I would tend to agree.
It was there that day. I know for certain.
Can you clarify how DNA warrants are supposed to be used then? Because based on what you said, it sounds like they didn't use it
so long
the right
ago.
way.
I feel like it was
The idea
you.
of a DNA warrant is, let's say,
Some
for
would say
example, someone's
I
robbing a
is me.
jewelry store, right?
No, some people
And
would say
you're
it was
chasing after
you.
the guy,
No.
and you got into a fight with him. Like, let's pretend you're a police officer. You get in a fight with this guy. You punch him in the face. You know, he drops some blood, and he skirts away. And then you find him an hour later.
I was on Nino, by the way.
Same clothes. You arrest him, and you want to get certainty that blood that you found on scene was his. You could get.
I'm trying to
warrant
find-
collect his DNA in the cells, and then you could swab him for that DNA. And if it matches, then there you go. That's a match, and you can use that to further build your case. If it doesn't match, you're supposed to throw it out. They're supposed to be used as temporary methods of collection for scenes as they're unfolding in front of you.
Yeah, that is so fucking far from what happened to me. Okay. All right. Well, I mean,
living in the past, you know.
If I can still sue, I just might, but I don't know at this
No,
point.
you can't. You're way out of
Yeah.
the statute there, buddy.
So no fat paycheck like you were alluding to. That's
I did fuck Silas.
Well, the paycheck will come from us, but no.
Are
Sorry.
you offering restitution?
We can have that conversation privately, but not here.
Okay, I'll hit you up. Alrighty. Yeah, I just want to make sure
Thank you,
people's
Silas.
DNA is protected unless they're actually like getting swabbed for the right reasons.
It
You know,
just
that was my
sounds
main
like
thing.
there's a critical misapplication of the law that's occurring right now. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't want to turn this into that, so
may
I'll
I-
step back. But thank you, Your
Can
Honor.
I add something here?
It's still a public hearing, Brian.
Yeah, it's public hearing. Go for it.
Was there any mention of the court order bit?
You asking me or Silas?
Oh, Silas. Did you
No,
mention
I
the
didn't
court
mention
order?
it, but I think it's
Yeah.
secondary to the fact that the warrant was signed in
Yeah.
the first place. Yeah, eventually I was court ordered to submit to it, but the fact that the warrant was even written in the first place is the problem because it was misapplied. The DNA legislation was misapplied as a means to obtain my DNA. And also, the guy that court ordered me to do that isn't even a fucking judge anymore, but that's a whole other thing.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. Well, thank
Was it
you very much for your
Grayson?
comments. All right.
Have you ever noticed how
Yep.
Grayson always
Yep.
talks about
I
himself
think
in
as
hearings?
Yeah.
part of that, you know, we'll see what we can do. Does anyone else have any comments that they'd like to address to the court?
Sounds like you got fucked up, Silas.
Can it be a separate thing or just stuff that's already been mentioned?
We have time, so
What's been mentioned
as
so
long as it's
far?
related to the DNA legislation.
Yeah, it's related.
Effectively.
So
this is
right
about-
now, I'm pretty
Say
sure
your
as
name.
it's, I was in here 20 minutes ago. I'm Cassandra Cage. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Cassandra.
Yeah, hi. So
had no
I
idea who
think
you were.
as it stands, shut up. As it stands, I don't think there's a way to get your DNA removed, because people can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think
Radiation?
it gets removed from an expungement. So if there could be some way that the
Radiation
DOJ
will
would
do it.
consider, like, you know, valid or reasonable, where if somebody, you know, hasn't done whatever crime for 6 months, a year, like whatever number you guys put on it, to be able to actually get a DNA like swab removed from your profile.
I have confirmation it was you.
No, it wasn't. I was on the
Thank
roof,
you. Thank you very
motherfucker.
much for
On
those
No,
comments.
I literally.
Does anyone else have anything that they'd like to say?
Talk about it afterwards. I'm like 99% sure I was on Nino
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put this court into recess.
because I was on the roof and they gave me a puzzle.
You probably have some insight into the court's opinion on this from some of the back and
It,
forth.
do,
that's
it doesn't
occurred.
matter.
I'll be
I
back
don't
with the
fucking remember.
official decision in 15 minutes. All right?
Oh, was I?
Thanks, Angel.
Thank you, ma'am.
It was Brian?
You should go fucked up,
big,
Silas.
big,
Holy
big,
shit, I
big
didn't
Maybe
know
I
that.
was on both. I don't know.
No,
Stop
fucking that's
meta.
valid.
Stop it. It doesn't matter anyways.
I thought that was how they did
It was probably at a time I was playing both characters, so it doesn't matter anyways.
Everybody, it was they basically, it was this place that seceded from San Andreas, and they were across the street from MRPD.
Y'all meditation, thanks for the 1 year.
Yeah, seceded from the state. I'm pretty sure they're bad.
We want to go try and grab the.
It doesn't matter because I can't use an RPA.
That's American.
I gotta see who signed it.
They had a
Don't
Soviet,
follow
it had a red star on the side. Is that a Soviet star? Should I say that?
I'm gonna see who signed this.
In most cases, yeah.
Was I not given the? Okay, fine.
I think North Korea.
Fine,
also
chat,
uses a red
fine,
star.
all
There's a
right.
North Korean red star on the side.
Fine. We'll go back. We'll check. Give me the link.
Vietnam uses yellow star, I think.
What date was this?
Oh,
It's probably my cop car.
it's got to be something.
Was I not given the puzzle information on Nino?
Yeah, North Korea is like a red star inside a white circle.
Yeah, the pages with the lines.
Are you fucking kidding me with this thunder?
Link
I'm
me
not
when
going
the
outside.
pages with the
Bullshit.
lines came out.
What?
The it might have been the
You didn't just hear the
refracting.
thunder?
Maybe it was refracting times. I don't
I
know.
heard something.
I don't remember. I thought I was on Nino on that roof. I'm like 90% sure I was.
So you got attacked by an
Back
A10.
when this all happened, this whole court case happened, my lawyer.
I got a call.
Weird.
I got a call. This. I made a report on it.
Nino knew about it. but
I
Brian
was.
Oh, you got
I
a
was-
call?
I got a call from an unknown number.
Nathaniel Grayson.
And
What? And they were like, we're going to attack you.
no, basically he just said,
Moron, man. Holy
"Hello, is this Tyler Peters? Hi, Tyler Peters. You know, I have an airplane. I have lots of airplanes. I know about airplanes. I'm down at the hangar right now. I'll be seeing you soon."
Did they have any kind of accent?
It sounded like Donald Trump. I got excited.
It
I have
doesn't.
lots of
it doesn't
airplanes.
matter.
Nobody has airplanes like
Yes,
me.
exactly like that. It could have been you. And
It
then I got
wasn't me.
excited, and then I saw an A10 Warthog, and it was flying upside down over the MRPD. Then I like left the city. And
It doesn't
followed me out
matter
of the
because
city,
I cannot
and
use
then,
it in
I tried to
roleplay,
get out my
guys.
car. I was trying to
Metagaming
board
is
it,
not
you know?
allowed.
I thought maybe if it flew by, I could jump on top of it and get inside, but it ended up hitting me.
Including but not limited to what IOC do not remember.
I don't hungry.
I got neck.
Here,
I got neck.
gotcha.
Okay,
Thank you.
You got neck?
I was gonna say an egg roll.
Do you like egg
Sammy.
Ew.
Steak. Hell yes.
Enjoy.
Grazie, Angela.
I don't even see the DNA warrant.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
Oh, did she say how long it's going to be?
Yeah,
It's
15
gonna be
minutes.
about 15
15?
minutes.
Yes,
15 minutes from now, I will have an answer.
I've got all the answers. You know, some say that they
Nobody
know
has
answers,
answers
but
like
nobody
me.
has answers like I have answers.
Everybody's saying it. They said he shit his pants. I said I didn't shit my pants.
I know shit. Nobody knows shit like I know shit.
Nobody shits their pants like me.
Nobody.
I'm the best that's ever done it.
You've never seen such brown marks on someone's pants before. Some would say
The
they know brown
best
marks.
brown
I know
marks.
brown marks.
Hold on, I got some sound clips for this.
All right, did you hear everything I was saying about Eastern Bloc?
No, what
He
did you
sounds
say?
like someone
Oh
that
my
needs
God.
to
Oh,
be
is that what
escorted
just
back into the
happened?
home.
This morning, there was an A10 Warthog that flew
A
over.
North Korean A10.
What the
Warthog.
fuck?
Yeah. So I was, and I think remember Eastern. I think it was Eastern Bloc.
There's the Swedish.
I hope not.
Then there's Warthog, which I don't know what his affiliation is because I think it works for the Faceless. And you're telling me this morning was the Eastern Bloc?
I think so. I think they found
Jesus
out about
fucking
me. I think they
Christ.
found out about me, Brian.
Wait, really?
Yeah. I think that's
Jesus
where I was.
fuck.
But the guy that called him sounded like Trump, which is why we were
Yes,
doing
and
the
you
voices.
know the collusion. The collusion that happened was with Eastern Bloc. Everybody knows this.
Hmm.
Oh, good.
Holy shit, Rob.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, go to hell, Robin.
Hi, Robin.
What the hell did Robin
Quite a-
do?
Quite a mixed reception. Peter, I was going to be your lawyer when the marshals were coming after you.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. Actually, Robin's cool. I'm cool with Robin. I couldn't remember. I thought we had animal. Actually, I don't think I've ever had a
what?
court
Wait,
case.
when did we come after you?
Not this was a
Not
long
your,
time ago.
Like
Brian.
Angel's version of one.
This was when-
Oh,
this is when they
gotcha.
were targeting me, and they were told specifically to get me removed from my position.
What was your position?
What do you mean?
This
You
is
know
the
what my
chief?
position was?
Listen, there was a period of time, right, that, sometimes
You just don't remember things like how you were with me at that fucking court bombing.
I don't. Listen, sometimes in order to avoid refracting, all right, I side on maybe I don't remember the details, all right?
Well, no, I don't think
So I
you
don't
would have remembered 'cause they were
accidentally,
coming after
you know.
Nino at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
think there was a
right. That's
lot
very
of,
true.
I was taking a lot of
Hey,
part-time,
what's going on, Watt?
at the time. Jesus fuck. Welcome
Refractory
back.
period happens to all men. It's fine.
Yeah, thank you.
So Brian,
Hmm?
perfect
I don't
person to
know.
ask.
I just watched
what's
it,
up?
and they were
I know
talking
you're the
about-
director and probably don't handle FOIAs, but given it's
Okay, all right.
faceless thing,
I
I assume you're involved.
Okay, I'll
I
see you up here.
I would prefer a written one because I don't want to misinterpret what you said. Same reason why I said it during the Nick case. And so that way I can post it up and there's like a log of it. You know what I mean?
I mean, this one shouldn't be as vague as that one. It's about the kidnapping and shooting of a man named Wilson King, where Frederick White was arrested. You familiar with that at all? Or?
That was one of the few that we did not handle. I came in at the end. I would recommend
Actually, now I'm looking at the search warrant and it's oh god, it's Lucas Miller again.
Yeah.
Why is it always him?
Throw it out. I'm telling you now, just throw it out.
No, I just didn't know. That's all. I just didn't know.
I mean, look, I didn't come here to piss my pants and cry. I came here to try to get some protections for people.
Silas, I'm going to be honest. It sounded like you did a lot of pissing.
Maybe a little bit of shitting too, but
no, pissing and moaning.
So that explosion about 5 minutes ago, that wasn't you again, was it?
No, it wasn't me, Robin. I'm sorry, Bill.
Why is it so accidentally kinky in here?
What the hell? Who's kinky?
Don't worry about it.
You were a suspect, and maybe you did it if I don't know what actually happened, right?
I mean, listen, I came here with
Wait. Peters, if I submit a FOIA with you, is it going to get
I will do it right
actually
now.
processed?
Yeah, I'll do it right now.
Wait, hold on.
What's in regards to?
It's an incident where Frederick White was arrested for kidnapping and shooting a man named Wilson King.
We need a better way for FOIAs.
Well, I might do. The warrant is not exactly clear on which reports are for which.
Okay, hang tight.
If I go
Let's see if I can find this.
Let's say you were a victim 5 days ago, and then you were involved in a
22960 might be it, but given the way it's written, I'm not sure if that's referring to another thing.
Do you have Frederick White's state ID?
So first situation.
Give me 1 second.
Second situation. You did some
14613.
Wait, how do I make it on release?
third situation.
Need a better.
Okay, and okay,
I don't
here's
want to
the
talk to
warrant.
this.
And what did you say it involved?
I wish
Dylan?
there's what I mean by a better FOIA process is I wish there's a way that people could submit it through a party, and then that party is like a clerk or something. It's so easy to miss that shit. Just because I might be conflicted, I'm gonna step over.
And then from there on, they just
How long has it
wrote a
been?
warrant.
Okay, let me get clarification on this. Let me see if Miller's around.
For my curiosity, were they within statute?
Did you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you.
Okay, I'm gonna call him and figure out. If
I
can-
do wish there was a. This is kind of what I tried to bring up at the Nick thing. I wish there was another party you could put the request in for, and this isn't not because I I want us to be able to serve these things, but it's so easy for via just conversation, there not being a log for it. You know what I mean? Misinterpretation through voice, no log of it, no transaction, right? Or even in this case, I'm.
Collect DNA at any time after arrest.
That's how we ended up with 5
Yeah.
terms of Nina Chavez.
Essentially creating a
Good
scenario
bad
where
FOIA.
law enforcement
Yeah.
could choose not to collect someone's DNA in a holding cell to then manufacture circumstances to re-engage with that individual outside of the context of a lawful detention or arrest. Now, in saying that, that is a very big statement to be making. I want it to be clear that we do not believe that law enforcement would do this with regularity, nor does the Department of Justice believe that is something that is intentionally taking place at this time. However, it is simply a scenario or a potential outcome of allowing the standard to be applied like that we would wish to avoid. So with that being said, we require LEOs to collect DNA in the holding cell of Mission Row or BCSO or wherever they might be, as long as it's within official custody, or while they're in state custody as it presents this potential issue and this misstep in due process from occurring. We find it very important that law enforcement ensures they're engaging with and conducting their lawful duties while suspects are under their care. And part of that is, ensuring that they're taking care of the suspect, that make sure that they're not violating their rights, but also by making sure that they're doing their administrative capacities, like collecting DNA when it's appropriate time. So essentially, as long as the suspect is in the custody of law enforcement or the prison, DOC, they may have their DNA collected. It is completely possible and understandable that an officer might forget to collect someone's DNA while they're at Mission O. And as long as that person is not a step free from prison, they're still in state custody, the Department of Justice sees no issue with law enforcement driving up to the prison and grabbing that sample from them. However, once they're out on the free,
it stays the same.
More or less.
Can you please not interrupt me, Brian?
Oh shit! I thought I was whispering there, ma'am.
No, you weren't.
Yeah.
So essentially,
More or
as
less,
long
but
as they're
also
within your custody,
we can go to DOC and get it as well.
State custody, you can collect their DNA. We'll make sure
I'll
that
let
the
someone,
proper law enforcement agencies are briefed and given educational resources regarding the application of the DNA legislation. We did hear some concerning testimony from other affected parties in the past, and we want to make sure that circumstances like that don't occur in the future.
I was like, how did she hear
We will not be
me?
modifying or changing the standards around keeping a DNA in a database after a legitimate and lawful collection, because the whole point of having a DNA database is to identify those who are engaging in potentially violent conduct that could be harming other citizens and making the job of law enforcement easier to prosecute.
I'm battling my
individuals who are shown to
ADHD
be
so hard this
engaging in
morning.
such dangerous behavior for the future.
I got more
But
coffee
we also
coming
want
though.
to protect civilians who have not engaged in such behavior and have not had their DNA collected in such a manner, which is why this legislation exists in the first place. It is to maintain the balance and to maintain the separation of the two. That is the ruling of this court. Thank you very much. I will put this into formal language tonight on City Hall.
Yeah.
Thanks, Angel.
Yes, Peters. This is
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
If you have any questions about the search and seizure legislation or the DNA legislation verdicts, you're more than welcome to approach the bench and we can talk about them. Otherwise,
So
I have a
they-
court case in 23 minutes.
They raided.
So wait, so the outcome was yes, we can collect it, but yes, it's got to be in a government facility, even if it's
Thank you, Angel.
after the fact.
Yeah, thank you.
No,
Yeah,
it
well,
has to
I
be
mean, I'm
collected
sure.
within the incident.
What's that? Sorry?
So basically, what she's saying is that while they're in custody at police, they're in custody of the law enforcement or the state, and whenever they get sent to prison, they're still in the same custody of the state up until they get out. They have time to collect it.
I
Yeah, while
appreciate
they're
that
exactly.
very much so.
It
but
stays
that's
the
what
same,
we're
but
gonna
we
be
can also go to
working,
prison.
with
If we miss it,
the
we can get it
officials
at a
on.
later date as long as they're in custody.
Yeah. But and she didn't address the after the post facto bit. No.
No, that's fine.
But that
if
is
on
still
arrest
fine.
1, your
Okay.
DNA isn't collected, it can be
Okay.
collected on arrest 2.
Yeah, that's good.
As long as you're in custody.
If no one else has any questions, I'm going to step out.
But we can also go to the
and,
prison,
quick
so
break before my
hopefully
next
there should
case.
be
We're
less
gonna be
instances of
doing
that
a
happening
appeal in
anyway,
22
because we can just go up to the prison and get it.
Nice.
You ready for your DNA there, Bailey?
No, you ain't taking my DNA.
What you said?
No.
No, no.
Yeah, you can't just offer it and then take the backseat.
May I give you
I
a hug?
withdraw.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I withdraw.
Yay.
Wow, you got something to hide, Bailey?
No, but if I did,
I
need something
do
to
have a
hide-
question about it, though. Fuck, she's gone.
If I
Shit.
if I did have something to hide in the future, I don't want to be like, fuck.
I'm
I gave
see if I
Knight
get
my
another
DNA that
order
one
come
time
to
so I
you
could
before the
intimately
next
look
case
into his
starts.
eyes as he swabbed my mouth.
I mean,
Can
there's.
we ask somebody to come to Mission Row to have the DNA?
Yeah.
Can we just say, hey, will you voluntarily do this?
I don't think that's an issue. If someone volunteers to do it, they're a dumb
Yeah,
fuck.
why is
but
that?
yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's. It's not unconstitutional in any way.
It's like me saying, yeah, you can, it's like
no.
me going, yeah. It's like me saying, oh yeah, you can raid my Grove Street house, and signing a piece of paper, and you raided my Grove Street house. and then
We
get
want to
mad
eliminate
because
you
you
as
raided-
a suspect. Yeah.
No,
well,
I mean, yeah. If someone wants to volunteer and do it, I don't think that's ever an issue. You know what I mean? Especially if they didn't do it, then they shouldn't refuse. But I'd probably
well,
make them
no,
sign-
I would for DNA. Still, I'd be like, no, my DNA is already on file because I'm a police officer. But if I got asked, hey, can we take your DNA? I'd be like, nope.
Yeah, I'd say, yes, you can use it.
Oh.
I'm gonna put this in a bin now and not put it on the system.
Brian, you might want to ask me to dinner
you
before
just-
you grab me like that.
What's that?
You put a sworn statement in going,
I said,
took this person.
if I want to ask me to dinner
DNA
first
did
before you
not
grab me like that.
Jesus Christ. I'm
I
married.
guess.
All right. Soon. What?
Oh, okay.
Hey, no, Marshall's still hiring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wait, you want to be a marshal?
No.
What are you asking?
Because sometimes I think about it.
Okay. All right.
You want to be a marshal? You thought about it?
Yeah, I've thought about it.
Okay. You're on the right side of history.
On the right side of history. Huh?
You see my new unit? Speaking of marshals.
Oh, yeah. What is this?
Okay, so I'm holding officers accountable out there. We've got officers. It's more for traffic violations than anything. So far, I've ticketed 2 LSPD, 1 marshal, and DCSO officer. I did listen to this, right? I pulled over a deputy that was in a what's that fucking a Charger? What's the Charger called?
Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo. He's parked illegally, so I was going to issue him a citation. And when I did, he immediately pulled off and said he had his lights on. I said, no, you didn't. And then I had him step out of the vehicle and show me his ID. His ID was expired for the last 2 years, and he's a PPO.
Damn.
I mean, that's a charge right there. Is driving under.
I didn't charge him on that. I shamed him. I gave him the parking violation, and then I drove him to the courthouse. And the whole time we were driving to the courthouse, we were yelling shame on the megaphone.
I would have made him walk, to be honest.
No.
How is a PPO in a Charger? Was it?
That was a whole different issue that King had to address today.
Oh.
Yeah, that came up later. So we're actually changing the way Shift 1 operates with Chargers as well. For low tier crime, we're only responding in CVPIs in the morning time. Like regardless of what they have, just to try to deter the criminals from using S+ supercars in petty crime.
I think that's an awesome idea, to be honest.
That was good. There was I attached to one chase this
Thanks,
morning.
Angela.
It was a cash exchange, and they were just even the swaps were. Eventually they got in a supercar, but it was about 35 minutes of chase.